Alright, so for this video, let's take a look at the security issue that we introduced in the other video. We can inspect the element over here, and if you recall how this works, the tricks editor will keep the state of the editor in sync with this hidden input. So that means we can actually get rid of the tricks element in the toolbar, and then we can turn this one to a text input. And from here, we can actually create an attack vector. So we could, I don't know, add an image tag with a source of X, and then on error alert hello. And we can also add more stuff like a script tag that runs an alert as well. And just to keep it cool, hey, this is nice. And yeah, we got bounded over here. So that's not good. This means that whenever this message is rendered to any user, this script tags over here and the on error of the image, they will be executed. So they can do more harmful things than just an alert. And that's not good. And to fix that, we're actually going to use this Symfony package called HTML Sanitizer. So let's install that in our application. I have the terminal over here running composer dev. So I'm going to kill that and then run composer require HTML Sanitizer. And since we are here, let's also write a test for this. Sanitizes HTML test, and that should be it. I'm going back here and run composer dev again, so we should have everything working again. And the error is still there, so that's good. Now, let's take a look at the documentation, but it's pretty straightforward to use this. So we simply require, and then, yeah, so this is how we can use it as a standalone package. That's pretty much it, actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own HTML Sanitizer function that uses this HTML Sanitizer over here. So let's go to the test, and over here, sanitizes HTML. Let's say that we have an HTML like this one over here, and the HTML is image source X on error alert hello, exactly what we had before, and hello world over here as a text. But let's put it in a, I don't know, in a p tag or a div, maybe a div tag, and let's also add the script version alert hello. Okay, so we're going to have a clean function which doesn't actually exist. Maybe we can call it h for HTML. Laravel has this AE helper, which is for escaping HTML, and that's not what we want. So I'm going to call it h for HTML, but you can do whatever you want on your application. To equal, so this will be equal to, I'm gonna trim this, the result of it, and this will have to be equal to, I'm also gonna trim this part over here, and I think this will result in a image tag like this with the source equals to X without the on error thing, and then there will be a hello world like this. I think this is what will result, but we'll take a look at that. And there's no h function, so that's good. Let's introduce a new helpers file over here in the app folder. And if this function doesn't exist, we'll create it. And it will receive an HTML, and it will return HTML string, which is Laravel's safe HTML. Okay, now over here we can pretty much copy this part and then paste it over here. And I'm just going to return this, and let me import and import this one as well. And then we can call sanitize, passing the inputs to it. And this will return a string, which is not what we want, but we can convert this to a string as well. That should be it. So now we just have to tell Composer to also auto-load in the production auto-load files. and we'll give it app helpers.php. And then let's kill this, run composer, run composer dump, so it generates the auto load again. Then we can run composer run dev again, but let's run the test that we just ran, and this is what we get. Okay, so it's a little different than what I expected. So that's good actually, because then we can just remove this and this will be what will be generated, and there's a space. I think that should be it. So there are more spaces because there was one space over here that I didn't. Yeah, so that's how you can use the Symfony package to sanitize your HTML. And you can have as many tests as you want over here. I'm just going to refactor this to this test table thing. So sanitizes, removes unsafe HTML. And then we can have this as the first param. So like this, maybe. And then the expected output would be here. So let's also do HTML and then HTML over here and paste this part. So this should be the HTML and this should be the expected. And we should be able to just delete this and replace with expected. And oh, there's no comma over here. Okay. So that should be it. Let's run it again, and we are executing it correctly. So now I'm just going to split it up into different tests. Okay, so we got 2 tests working. Now let's go back to the application, and just so we can, I think my test is actually running against. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Let's use SQLite for testing. It actually erased my database. That's not what I wanted. Test is still passing. Now I'm gonna have to register again, and Tony Messias, TonySM.com. So hello world. Let's recreate this just so I can test. This is not gonna erase my database again, I don't think. Okay, so now let's try the attack one more time over here and convert this text, and then we can do the image trick that we just did on and create, and 1 2, that's good. Oh, I mean that's terrible, but let's go back to the index blade file, and now we can replace our unsafe output over here with a safe one, and then we can just use our new function over here. And just like that, you can see that the script is not actually executing. And if we take a look at the HTML that we have over here, well, we still have the image tag as we expected, but the script tag and the onError attribute, which is unsafe, they are not rendered anymore. And you can read more about the HTML sanitization, and then you can tweak it. Like you can specifically mention the blocks that you want, the elements that you want, and the attributes that you want, and all that. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that, and maybe I'll make one tweak to it, which is I'm gonna configure it to allow one attribute, which is the class attribute, and on all elements. And I know this is still unsafe because users can use this vector to add CSS classes to the HTML that I'm creating, and that would allow them to do CSS hijacking or click hijacking on text and all that. But I need the classes. So I just wish there was a way to say I want a class, but just one specific class, and that's it. Which it's really what I want, but anyways. So now we got the safe output over here, and editing, just so we can test. Editing still works, and we get this issue over here because this is trying to render the image as an attachment, but it's really not an attachment. Anyways. So if we save, everything should be working as you'd expect. So yeah, that's it for this video. There's still one more layer that we could add, which is content security policy. And to be honest, I would probably add this to my application if it was a production application, but I'm using Alpine over here. In Alpine CSP, if you want to use CSP with Alpine, you have to rewrite your components to use this notation instead of running the HTML way, which is not that common, and Laravel Breeze ships with a lot of Alpine components, so I'm not gonna install CSP right now in this demo, but also if you're using Livewire, so there's no CSP support for Livewire. So yeah, but this is the safest way. We would have basically the browser will only run scripts that we say are safe, not injected scripts from the content in our page. That's not what's supposed to happen. So anyways, this is it for this video. We talked about HTML sanitization and how to keep your application safe. We talked a little bit about CSP, but we haven't installed it. Let's say that this is an exercise for the reader, so we should enable CSP on your applications. In the next video, we'll talk about styling this toolbar a little bit to match our design over here. So I'll see you there.